All right. It's been a couple days since I last touched this car, but since then, Wes took the fenders off of both sides. But other than that, not much else has happened. Today, I'm going to be trying to get some body filler on the car, on the seams, try and smooth that out a little bit. All right. So basically what I'm going to do here is grind this down. I'm not going to try and grind it all the way flat. I'm just going to grind it low enough that the highest point of it is either level or lower than the surrounding metal. I'll be able to kind of just flatten it out, and then I should be able to just mud over it. All right. There are a couple spots here, like here, where it's not welded, and then down in here that I might touch up with the welder, but I'm gonna go ahead and do the other side and see how that comes out, and then decide if I want to touch this up with the welder. I'm thinking I am, just because I don't like that being not welded. So yeah, so we'll cut to that. And this side's really solid. I like this a lot. That's gonna look good. This side, I would almost say I could buzz this down and probably hit it with filler. So I might revisit the other side and weld that up. But if you'll look, I'm happy with that for sure. So yeah, I guess I'll come over here, lay some boogers in here, maybe in here, and go from there. That'll do, I think. This spot came out real good. I had a spot over here I had to touch back up with the welder again. There's a hole, actually. But got that figured out. And I think we're ready to move to the next step. I'm just gonna put the welder away, clean up generally, and bust out the sanding cart. All right, so my next step is I got this DA here, orbital sander. Basically what I'm gonna do is just kind of sand this surrounding area. I got 120 grit on it. I would normally use 80, but I don't have any at the moment, so I'm just gonna make that work. But yeah, so both sides, just wanna kind of rough up any areas that I'm gonna be putting filler. Not bad. I'll take it. But honestly, setting up the camera for this side, kind of a pain. So I'll probably just cut to this one being done. Long story short, it's been a couple days now. Both sides are done. And we're gonna try to go for filler today. As I spin in circles in the shop. Gonna try and get filler on this. So let's get to it. All right, so this is what we're working with. This stuff, I really like this stuff. Dries pretty quickly, lays out nice, sand's good. So that's what we're gonna use. Made by 3M. Sets up kind of quick, so I'm actually just gonna lay this out and then I'll mix it when I cut to the camera sitting over there. All right, so this is the hardener. It's just a 1 part in a tube. You want to add a decent amount. It's a little bit colder out in Pennsylvania here, and the shop is no exception. But so we'll put a liberal amount, maybe a little more. What was that? Probably some ice falling off the roof or something. Yeah. Good enough. And usually what I do with these is I'll wipe them off, like just get a big chunk of the filler off of them, and then I'll wipe them down with some brake clean or something just to preserve them, because you know these things aren't free. All right, I can't find the block I normally would use for this, but this will work. Now we're getting somewhere. This feels decent. Of course, there's a couple, mounds here and there. Like, that's a high spot. It could be caused from a number of things. Maybe the metal warped when I was welding it. Maybe there was an outward dent, but gotta fix that. This is low because this is high. Or rather, I can't sand this because this is high. Without taking off a bunch here too. But so I'm gonna tap this down and probably go for another coat. You can see here, like this is kind of smooth and this is kind of smooth, but this isn't, because that's from the grinder. Like that's like a perfect grinder mark, where this is now like low basically. And it's just where the filler and the ground out primer meet. But overall, not too shabby. I'm gonna go ahead and tap this down and probably hit this up with another coat. And I'm gonna blow it off. Definitely wanna do that because of all the dust. All right, got my body hammer here. This is the spot. I'm just gonna try and kind of tap around it and bring it down, closer to the level of everything around it. enough? Two more things. When you're using your hardener, when your hardener sits, I like to make a habit of just kneading it a little bit before I go to use it. And the other thing is, when you're not using this, cover it. Kind of a do as I say, not as I do, because I forgot to. But you definitely want to cover this when you're not using it. You want to make sure that this is nice and thoroughly mixed before you go to put it on. A wise body man once told me, the better it looks, while you're spreading it, the less sanding you gotta do. All right. I think before I move to the next step, which will be glaze, I think I'm going to start on the other side. You've seen it enough. I'm just going to start putting filler on it and get it to look like the other side. I had to charge my phone, but basically sanded this down. I'm gonna hit it with another coat, and we're getting close. So, I mean, there's this low spot right here, but I kind of expected that. But overall, not bad. I think we'll be good with another coat of filler. Glaze both sides, and that's good. Then we'll be ready to move on to the trunk. Gotta patch these holes. There's a dent here as well. You can see that actually in that light real good. But yeah, all these holes gotta go. And then we can hopefully prime everything. I'll take that. You can see a little something's going on here, but that'll glaze out. The rest of it's feeling pretty good, looking pretty good. I would say both sides are ready for glaze, and that's the last step for the quarters. Obviously, you know, got to prime them still and sand them and all that, but as far as body filler, that's really it. Luckily, this rear clip is pretty clean, like, you know, and under these holes isn't really going to matter because it's getting over fenders, but there's nothing really wrong with it otherwise. This little tail panel piece is nice. Taillights fit good. So I think after that, I'll probably start working on the trunk, because ideally, if I could prime the quarters and the trunk together, that would be best.